Welcome to the It's Just Different podcast, where we bring on people who have been where you are trying to go and or have helped countless athletes get there. Today, we have one of the greats, Duncanville native, two-time state champion, played at the University of Texas. I've been bringing a lot of Texas on. It's okay. That's just what I'm gonna do for right now. But played at University of Texas, currently playing with the Washington Mystics in her 6th year, and it's our first Olympian. Today we have Ariel Atkins. What's up, Ariel?
What's up, Ash? What's going on?
It's going, man. I know we've been trying to get this episode for for like 2 weeks, I feel like.
Yeah,
I get it though. I understand. You busy. I understand.
the schedule's all over the place right now, but it's all good.
Are you currently in DC?
Yep, currently in DC. Off season just started not so long ago, unfortunately. But yeah, just basically getting my off season planning down, pretty much.
And yeah, you said off season just started. I know that's not
Mm-hmm.
fun to hear. But overall you had a good year.
Thank you. I mean, I'm excited for the next one to be better. Should say
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
What are y'all working on currently in off season?
We don't really work out as a team,
Yeah.
per se, but I think just for me personally, I'm trying to be in the best shape of my life next season. So I had to start that sooner than later, so I didn't have to go crazy towards when season gets around. So right now, I'm just kind of really locked into my conditioning.
What does that look like?
So right now, I'm doing like heart rate training, which I honestly don't understand it a ton, but I trust my strength coach.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is trying to get myself or my heart rate to calm down quicker and then be able to sustain more comfortably when my heart rate is at an all-time high.
Mm. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and getting in the best shape. I don't know. I think I just gonna. I'm gonna just lift. I don't know about running and all of
No,
that.
you need both. You need both.
I agree. I agree. We always start this podcast on just talking about things that are different, right? The name of this
Hmm.
podcast is It's Just Different. I believe that things are different, whether that's AAU, whether that's in the league, wherever, like basketball, it's just different. So I
Hmm.
do want to ask you, if you play college basketball again, what would you do
Hmm.
differently?
Whew. Um, Honestly, that hasn't had to do anything with the court. I would probably say network more off the court.
Mm,
And build more relationships at the University of Texas when it came to like student body and professors and things like that. I feel like I built a really good connection with people in the athletic world at UT. Obviously now kids are different. They are networking, branding, all these types of different
getting
things. But
paid.
yeah, I really do wish I would have networked better and more, really.
Hmm. Now, it's like always so hard, right? I think that we
Mm.
all say that, but it's like, when do you really have the time? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you don't, but for me, like it could have been as easy as like in classes, like
yeah,
instead of going to like an athlete group study, like just go
yep,
to a student body group study, you know?
yep.
And the times that we did have that like 2 week period, when everybody was pretty much getting acclimated back to campus, and we kind of had I won't say a break, but it was just like a lighter load.
Yeah.
Kind of spend that time just immersed in like a different space on campus, really.
No, I agree with that. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I did a pretty good job, like, just like Tina. Tina Khan was like, that was my girl, RP Tina.
Hmm.
Like, I loved her.
Yeah.
And like Randa, like, I did a good job, like, talking to them. But I agree.
Hmm.
And I like networking. Like, I'll talk to
Right.
anybody, but we kind of had our own like groups. Like, if you were an athlete,
Hmm.
we really wasn't like talking to you. But
Yeah.
like, I definitely wish I would have pledged. Like, I want to be a Delta.
Ah,
It's coming.
Deltas.
I think it's
Yeah.
coming though. I think it's definitely
Yeah.
coming soon.
Okay.
We'll see.
I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to
But I
see that.
definitely, I'm like, I should have like pledged. I just didn't think
Hmm.
that I could do anything but play basketball and
Prime
sleep.
difference in between the time then and now. Like
Yep.
they know and believe that they can do absolutely anything they put their minds to. And I see it, I'm just like, I feel so proud. And like I didn't do anything, to be proud of these kids, but I'm just so proud. I'm like, your power. Like you know who you are. Like you pushing the boundaries. I just think is really cool.
And it's so important. Like, there's
Mhm.
so many benefits to being a college athlete. There's so many resources for you for being a college athlete, but so many
Mhm.
times is ball is life. And I've always been the one to
Right.
say, at the end of the day, like, ball ain't life. Like, ball is going to take you
Mhm.
places. Ball is the vehicle for the things that you want to do for however long you plan. Whether that's stopping at college, whether that's going professionally overseas or in a W or whatever, but like
Mhm.
using the game of basketball to help you on and off the court. And I do see a lot of athletes being able to do that now.
Mhm. 100%.
No, but it is definitely exciting to see. It's definitely exciting to see. But let's get into Ariel for a little bit.
Okay.
Duncanville, Texas, Washington Mystics, Olympian. When did you start playing basketball?
I started playing around, I guess, like 4 or 5. I started at FCA, which I don't know what it's called now, but it was the private school of OCBF.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I started playing basketball. I started in the turnaround league. I don't even know if that exists anymore. But yeah, I started playing in that. My mom was my first coach. Um, I was just playing because it was fun. You
Yeah.
know,
When would you
still
say you got
fun.
serious about it?
Serious. I mean, there were stages of my seriousness. It's like, so when you're a kid, it's like you see that people are like better than you, so you're like, oh nah, like I'm not trying to be the one.
Right.
And then you high school and you're like, oh wait, I can be the one. So then you try to, it's different levels of like seriousness. But I would say I started really like pursuing, want to get better at it, and as far as like skill work, understanding the game, really locking in was around high school.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Steph was a really big factor in that. Like she started speaking to me in a way that was just like I call it basketball raised.
Mm-hmm.
It was just in a different type of way because I've always been kind of a serious kid,
Yeah.
so like I take things serious.
Oh, I
But
know.
it was yeah, yeah. But like when I got to high school was when I was like, yeah, I want to do this for real,
Yeah. And shout out to Coach Self. We're gonna get to my girl in a minute. I love me some
man.
Coach Self, Kathy Self Morgan. That's my
Same, same,
girl.
same.
Yeah. So middle school, who did you play AAU with?
So I started out with the same AU team since I was like 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm big. I guess I'm big on loyalty, or my
Mm-hmm.
family is. I don't know, but I was with the same team since I was about 7. And then we kind of branched off into our own little team again. So I played for Panthers Elite, which is like the Lady Panthers Elite.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you know, you know. I mean, Dallas,
Yeah.
Lady Panthers Elite, LPE baby.
Listen.
Yeah.
There's some hoopers.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of good players came out of that. But just good people, dope people. So I played with him, and then I played with Dallas Showtime.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in like middle school, going into high school. And then we started our own AU team at Duncanville. So I played for Duncanville. And then I played a couple of tournaments. Which was my former teammate, who was my future teammate at the time, Tage and Brooke. So we played on soccer together.
Got it. And so when did you start getting recruited?
Honestly, actually, like that world for me was just not a big thing.
Yeah.
I probably started really getting recruited in high school without honestly even knowing it. I really wasn't privy to a lot of it. My high school
Mm-hmm.
coaches were obviously, like Coach Self knew that type of stuff, but it wasn't something that like I was just like, oh my gosh, like who's looking at me now? Da 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 da. Like I was just like, I'm trying to win championships. Like
Yeah.
I
You
don't
just
know what
had your
y'all got
head
going
down
on.
grinding.
No, 100%. I love playing basketball. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
really what it was, and I enjoyed my teammates. I think kind of like around my sophomore-ish years when like I had a big jump in the way
Yeah.
that I played. I took that summer very seriously. Um, so probably around sophomore years when I started really realizing like the college stuff was heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But not until then, honestly, because
And
I
was that your
wasn't like.
sophomore going into your junior year or your freshman going into
Mhm.
your sophomore year? Sophomore going into your junior year.
Yeah, sophomore going into junior year where I got like serious about like, okay, I'm gonna have to really think about this. I thought about it my freshman year because my sophomore year I was thinking about it kind of the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't until like that summer where I was like, yeah, I need to sit down and think about this like for real, for real.
Right. And when did you
Yeah,
get your first offer?
I don't know.
You
I have
wouldn't
no
even
idea.
guess. You didn't even
I
care.
mean, my mom, I just wasn't thinking about it, to be honest. Like, I
Mhm.
don't remember, like, oh my gosh, a college, like, cause for me, it was like, it wasn't if I was gonna do something like that. It was like when. Like, I knew I had the people in place that could help me get there, so I had to do my part, right? And my part was the work in the
Yeah.
classroom and on the court. And I've been blessed, man. I got good people around me. Like, I honestly didn't have to stress about that type of stuff.
Man, like I love that answer. But talking about like people around you, because I think support system, I think having the right people around you
Mhm.
is key, because especially now,
100%.
like everybody want to attach their name to somebody.
Mhm.
Everybody think they know what they're talking about, and it's hard for parents. The reason that I wanted to start this podcast really is to educate some of the parents,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, if you don't know, you don't know. If you know, you
Yeah.
know. And it's
Yeah.
hard. So like, what were some of those people in your corner, and what did they do for you? How did they support you?
Well, first and foremost, my family, my parents.
Mhm.
I mean, my parents, they're very super down to earth people.
Mhm.
Um, Not really into the whole scene, the basketball scene. They love it because I play. My dad's into sports, but it's not like I wasn't getting yelled at from the stands. If anything, my dad was yelling a joke, and it was an insider between me and him.
Mhm.
But there was never any, like, I never got into the car crying because my dad said I sucked, or my mom told me I didn't shoot enough, or that I need to stop passing the ball. Like, I didn't have that. So I was raised basketball wise in such a great environment because I didn't have to stress about that. Like, I just got to go play. Like, obviously my parents was like, "Yeah, you played terrible today," but like,
Yeah.
that's obvious, or like, "Oh, you made a lot of shots today." Like, that's good. So first and foremost, my parents, and then the coaches that I just had growing up have just been like great, and majority, if not all of them, are honestly still in my life to this day, which
That's
I'm
dope.
super thankful for. I know it's amazing. Um, and I've just been blessed to be around good people. Like I said, I grew up at FCA, which is the OCBF school, around JR and Coach Tim and Coach G, and just ever since then, I mean, Coach Dwayne, Coach Ellis, like, I've had amazing people in my life, and then to be transferred and handed off to Coach Self. I mean, obviously, I went to middle school and I had really cool coaches
Mhm.
there, but
What middle school did you go to?
Reed,
That's what I
yeah,
thought. That's what I thought. I
yes,
knew. I knew.
sir.
Listen, we're nobody
Yeah,
messing with Reed. Now,
no,
y'all
man.
that's from Dallas or whatever that want to talk about Bird and Kennemer. No, it was Reed.
Thank you very much. And as you know very well, Coach Self had her girls basketball programs on lock. So I feel
Mhm.
like from once I got into like sixth, seventh grade, I was really pretty much playing for Coach Self at that point because she had a system and she
Yeah.
ran it all the way through down, all the way through down. So yeah, I've had a great basketball like raising.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about that a little bit, because I think when you go into high school coaches, a
Mhm.
lot of people or parents and high school coaches think like, oh, it's all on the high school coach, but in reality, it started in middle school.
Mhm.
Nowadays, like a lot of the middle school schools, they're not like it's really just teachers that are trying to coach these kids, but they're not even people that understand or know basketball. But you talked about
Man,
something important, like with Coach Self. Like, she had a system and we were doing it in middle school. Like, what talk
day
about the
one.
importance of that? Like, what does that look like?
Uh, I mean, it boils all the way down to the conditioning that we did on Wednesdays. Like,
You still
you
That's
just know,
crazy,
like,
you
you
still
remember
remember
this, right?
that.
100%.
Specific day on
And it's something that I
Wednesdays.
bring into, yeah, yeah, it's a system. I mean, she had us in a tight system, but kids need structure.
Mhm.
And for me, that was a really big deal because it taught me how to go about developing a plan for me to get better. Like, I had a gauge on how I was doing throughout the week, depending on when we got to Wednesdays, how my skill was looking, like, or how
Mhm.
my conditioning was looking. Um, but the biggest thing for me was she would come to our games, and I thought that was crazy. I'm like, she have nothing else to do. Like, why she at our games? Like she
Faithfully
cares about
too.
us. Like, this is crazy. Like, you see her walk in the gym, you should be like, oh wait, like, y'all, like, Coach Self here, Coach
Coach
Self
Self
here.
here.
And you, like, took your jersey and took your jersey in.
Hey, y'all, Coach Self here. Coach
So
Self
for
here.
me, yeah. And it's crazy because I mean, you see kids now. I mean, I don't know if they're oblivious to it or not. Like when college coaches walk in, their demeanor kind of changes. That was me for Coach Self. Like when she walked in the gym, I was like, I knew I just had to be on my p's and q's. Like
Mm-hmm.
I had to be locked in. And it was just such a respect level there. And especially as a kid, when you come from a program that I've come from really disciplined programs as a kid. Like all of my coaches I named earlier, locked in on defense, making sure we were conditioning. If we didn't do something right in school, they wouldn't even let us practice. I'm like, it's AAU. Like, what that got to do with y'all? You know, like they like, nah, it's all the same
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I come from a disciplined background, but to play for someone like Coach Self in the way that she was able to like develop kids, and I'm talking about it now. Back then, I had no idea about any of this. I'm just out here, right? Being a middle schooler, trying to figure out how to do my hair and make friends. Um, but yeah, she built a system, and I didn't realize it until I got to high school, and we were actually in an open gym with y'all, and we were all like running plays. I was like, oh, I know these. And it's like, oh, you learned them in middle school, so that when you got to high school, you wouldn't have to, like it's helping kids develop and get along and grow along and giving people like a chance to be like more confident and comfortable when they come into the system. But it's like I,
Mm-hmm.
I got into the system when I was 11
Right.
because she's been coaching me since I was in middle school. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool.
Yeah, that's Coach Seth gonna do that. Coach Seth is definitely gonna do that. And it
Hmm.
sounds like honestly, like a lot of this is what, is why you're successful now. Like you have been disciplined for a really long time and haven't strayed away from it. Like your parents haven't strayed
Hmm.
away from it. It's easy. I mean, y'all know, if you don't know, look Ariel up. Like Ariel is one of the top kids in the country. You could have played with any AAU team. You could have, something went wrong at Duncanville, went to another school, or you didn't like what Coach Self did, that because let's be honest, we all didn't like everything
Hmm.
Coach Self did, right? But
Right. She
you
had a
know,
way.
right, we know. But at the
Hmm.
end of the day, like just from listening to you talk, and like you said, you didn't know this back then, but like you knew you were
Hmm.
with the right people, you were with the right person, you were with
Right.
the right coach.
For sure.
And I think
Hmm.
that that's what's honestly missing now, you know
Hmm.
because there are so many people that can say, oh, I've done this, or I know that, or let me help your kid do this, or come to this school. And at the end of the day, so many kids are just bouncing around, bouncing around.
Yeah.
And it's hurting the game a little bit, in my opinion.
Hmm. Huh.
Yeah.
That's tough. I mean, it's just part of it is like people have so many, like you said, so many different voices to listen to, and discernment. I mean, I ain't trying to get preachy, but like discernment is a spiritual situation. Like
Hmm.
it's not just oh, I want my kid to look good in this jersey. I mean, everybody's got a nice jersey these days, right? Everybody's got matching shoes, matching socks. I mean,
Hmm.
what have you? I don't even know if people wear matching backpacks anymore. Is that a thing in the AAU?
Yeah, you still got the same backpack.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, I think it really comes down to realizing when you're being sold and when somebody's really bought in. Like, those are
Hmm.
kind of two different things to me because if they're selling you on a dream or like what could be, I don't like the whole instance like you come over here, you get a ton of playing time. Like that's dangerous because it's
Hmm.
like, okay, well, what did the kid earn? And as a
Right.
parent, I want my kid to work for it. And I'm not like out the trenches. Like, parents work hard for their kids to be able to have some type of a lift up.
Hmm.
But I think when it comes to the basketball world, like you have to kind of figure out as a kid, like navigate your way a little bit. And if you take your kid out of a situation where they don't have to navigate at all, it kind of bites them in the butt because at the end of the day, like they have to learn how to navigate. Like they're not going to be there when their friends are busting their butts and open them. Like you're not, you can't step on the court and do nothing about it. And when they're in front of their college coach, they have to be able to handle that pressure. And when they get to college, there's absolutely nothing you can do
Not
besides
at
tell your
all.
kid we are leaving. Yeah, besides tell your kid we're leaving. And you don't want to create that environment where your kid almost gets to a point to where not that they just wanna quit, but that they're like, "Oh my goodness, like, I can't handle this," but you can. Now, don't get me wrong, some people out here treating kids absolutely terrible, and I don't stand for that, like, whatsoever. Don't mistreat kids, right? But if your kid is just, like, having an honest conversation with a coach and the coach is like, "Hey, like, I want to put you on the floor. These are the things that I can help you do to get you on the floor. And all the kid hears is, I don't want you on the floor. It's a different conversation, like go if you really feel the need to go ask a coach, like, what can I do better? Like, encourage your kid to go do those things. Like, and you can sit to the side. Like, I'm not saying send a kid in anywhere else by themselves by an adult, but like, you can sit to the side and let the kid kind of advocate for themselves and like learn. Like, these are the things that they're going to have to learn anyway, and they're just having to learn it a lot early.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's really interesting, like how it goes, because you kind of the way that sports is now, you kind of teeter totter in that line between like it's a really kind of great line to me right now. But I think a lot of it is like teaching a kid like not only how to advocate for themselves, but to be able to do hard things. Like, it's okay to do hard things. You ain't got to be afraid of it. Like, yeah, it's gonna suck. It's a lot of stuff in life that suck.
Yeah.
It
It's
is what it
okay to
is.
do hard things. I love that. Was
Yeah.
it was it hard for you choosing Texas? I know you probably could have went to a lot of different places. Why did you choose Texas?
Yeah. Well, I chose Texas honestly because of the balance of it all. I think Texas is just an amazing place for someone who kind of wants to do everything. Like, I was really into business. I was really into sport management. I was really into health and wellness. But I was really into my career in basketball. But I also wanted a well-rounded education. Another reason why I chose Texas was because of the facilities. I knew they had everything, the facilities and the resources. They had everything I needed to succeed. If only all I had to do was actually put my foot forward and use the resources or ask those questions. I liked how seriously they took academics. I knew they wouldn't let me slide. Again, I'm a bit of discipline. So anywhere I could go where I knew I was going to have structure, discipline is important to me. And they hadn't won a championship since '86, and I was like, I want to win a championship here. I want to
Mm,
bring that to my home state. That was really important to me. And I mean, what better story is a kid from Texas going to Texas and bringing the chip home? You
I
know,
love it.
didn't do that, but got a little close, got to Elite Eight. But yeah, I mean, it was a multitude of reasons, but those really were the main ones.
Yeah. Who did y'all play in the Elite Eight?
Just take a guess. We played them 3 years in a row.
We don't even want to bring
Woo!
that up again, do we?
Yeah. Next.
All right,
Next.
we just gonna
Yeah.
glance over that
Keep
because
it
we
pushing.
we were close. We were close, but
Mhm.
yeah, we gonna leave that alone. But with
Mm.
Texas, when did you commit to
Mhm.
Texas?
Right before my senior year. It was at the end of it was actually around the time that we won state. It was at the end of my junior year of high school.
Hmm.
I was ready to commit because I didn't want to worry about it my senior year.
Right, and you, I'm assuming,
Mm.
or maybe not. I'm not gonna assume. Did you already have the offer from Texas before you went to South Fair, or did you get that when you went to South Fair?
I had already had the offer. I only played for South Fair for 2 tournaments. And we really did it because again, I love basketball and I wanted to play with one of my friends. So
Mm.
yeah.
Now, why didn't you make the decision? Because I know every team was probably trying to get you. Why did you stay with Duncanville throughout your AAU career and not go to an EYBL program or Adidas program or any program for that matter?
Yeah, that Duncanville is family. I would have never left if I could play with Duncanville for 20 years down the line, I would. I loved my teammates that much and we were a family, and it wasn't even about like you owe somebody something. It wasn't that. Like, I just loved playing with my teammates. Like, those are my sisters like to this day.
Mm.
Um and we were tough. Like, we was out here playing the shoe team, the eat,
Yes.
like, it didn't matter. It didn't matter who we laced up against. We knew we was ready to compete. We beat some of them. Like, we could still hoop.
Yeah, and I
Like, the
love
name on
that you
our
said
chest said it
that.
all.
Yeah, I love that you
Oh
said that
yeah.
because I want to help some people out, because I do think that
Mhm.
right now it's hard, for kids and parents. You do have
Mhm.
some kids that have been with a team for a long time, right? And they're trying to make the
Mhm.
decision on, do I stay with this team? Do I stay loyal? Or do I
Mhm.
find another team? And you just said something that was very, very important. Like, you stay with that team, but y'all were good and y'all were
Mhm.
playing these actual shoot, not they second, third team. Like, y'all were no, y'all were playing the
Yeah.
actual team.
Mhm.
Y'all beat some of them. So that goes to
Mhm.
tell me that y'all had coaches at the game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
And I
mean, I yeah, I just think it had to come to a point where, like, obviously people knew we had an AU team. They was like,
right.
"Oh, that's the school, Duncanville." Like, that's what they would say. We'd be like,
Yeah.
"Well, yeah." Like,
Yeah,
what
but
else
we
would
but
be?
we good, and we gonna come out here and
Mhm.
do what we need to do. But yeah, I think that, like I said, I
Mhm.
think that that's good that you said that, because sometimes it's hard. I've seen kids that are really
Yeah.
talented, and they think like, oh, I need to stay with this team, but this team is not playing in front of
Mhm.
any coaches. This team is not doing anything for you, and at that time, you got to make a decision. You
Yeah.
know, Vice versa. I've seen some kids, I'm always, because it's my podcast and I'm gonna talk about my program. But
Mhm.
I've seen where it's like some kids that play with me and they think like, oh, I need to go play with this EYBL team or this team or whatever.
Mhm.
And I've always just been like, if it's the right decision for, like, if it's the right move for you, I'm never gonna hold a kid back. But at the end of the day,
Mhm.
you got to look at your situation. We playing all these teams, every last one of them. We done
Right.
beat some of them.
Mhm.
Some of them, they done kicked our tail, right? But
Right.
at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's about the platform and putting you in the right position. So I think that that's good that you
Mhm.
said that. Not only did you play with this team, you got what you needed, which was getting looks
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
and competing.
Mhm. Competing against the best of the best. And I think that's the big thing too. Like, if you're in the tournaments, like, make sure you're in the right brackets, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I honestly think they put us in the toughest bracket early on because they didn't really want us to be in them. And then we started, like, competing, and they was probably like, "You, like, yeah,
Oh, this is what
this
this
is for real."
is.
Yeah,
They can
yeah.
play a
Not
little
gonna run
bit.
us out the gym, right? Mhm.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Do you think it is a big difference from, playing with a shoe circuit team and playing with an independent team? Like, what's your take on any of
Mhm.
that?
For me, I kind of had the best of both worlds just a little bit. I would say it really just depends on you,
Mhm.
you as a player, you as a kid too, and parents like knowing their kids. Um, every group of kids is different. If your kid has been playing, well, for me personally, I've been playing with the same team since I was like 7. Honestly, I played with the same like core of people until I got to high school. Like, that's just what we did, like, made it work, and then when I got to high school, I found more family, I found more
Mhm.
sisters, so it really just depends, like, on the kid. I don't know much about the AU circuit these days, honestly, I haven't thought about creating a team. I don't know what I'm gonna do,
Yeah.
but I think the biggest thing is really just about figuring out what works best for you and kinda seeing who is willing to, like, invest in your kid, and care for your kid, like, you want your kid to be cared for. Every AU team I've played for, again, I'm like close with all of my coaches to this day. I know I could call them for absolutely anything. But the big thing for me was family environment. And my mom did let me make a few decisions. Like, when I was young, she was like, "Well, which team do you want to play for?"
Mhm.
And we had a mini scandal, I like to call it. It's always something going on at AU.
Yeah.
But I had to choose if I wanted to stay with that team or go to another one, and I was just like, "I can't stand for that." My mom was like, "So what do you wanna do?" I was like, "I gotta move on." It was real dramatic back then, but, like, now you look back at it, my mom really, like, allowed me to, like, make that decision and, she guided me in the right direction. So, again, I'm super happy, super blessed with my basketball raising. I love it, and I'm thankful to have the journey that I've had.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. I want to kind of go into Texas a little bit. You
Yeah.
obviously played at Texas and now with the Mystics. What was your experience
Mhm.
like at Texas? Like, how was the years? Like, what was that? Like, talk about Texas for a little bit.
Man, Texas was tough. Like, college basketball is hard. I don't know if it's any harder or easier now. I don't know. But it's just like it was my first time away from home. Coach Shelf doesn't like yell. She just gets mad, right? Like, she just
It's
she
like a
just looks
different
at you a certain
type.
way, right?
Like, that's the thing. Like,
Yeah,
she not gonna
right.
yell at you, but it's
Mhm.
always like, it's like, dang, like I made herself mad.
Exactly, right? And I had known Coach Self since I was like 8. I've been going to Duncanville camp since I was in like second, third grade,
Mhm.
right? So Texas was hard for me because it was a new environment. It was completely new coaches. Like they recruited me, yeah, but I've known Coach Self since I was 8. That's
Mhm.
10 years of us like
Right.
growing together. So for me, it was just new. Obviously, I'm family oriented. Everybody's been in my life has been in there for a minute, so it was hard for me. I was away from home. My dad cooks all the time. I have none of my dad's food. Like I was just out here. But the beauty of it is that it really forced me to just want to be in the gym. Like I was
Yeah.
just in the gym shooting, doing as much as I could, just because it was my happy place. Like basketball's like reset for me, right? So just being in the gym, playing around, and it was also hard 'cause we had a little bit of turnover with assistant coaches,
Mhm.
and I had got close to every single one of them. I'm like, oh my God, I just keep leaving. Like, what's going on? Um, but it turned out really well. I think it was a great experience. It taught me how to be a pro, no question.
Yeah.
It taught me how to be a pro. And I learned some amazing things from every single coach that coached me at my time at UT. It was definitely hard, but I wouldn't change absolutely anything about it. It has literally helped me be the pro that I am today.
Yeah. And you said college basketball is hard. Like, I know
Mhm.
being at Duncanville, like Duncanville is ran honestly to me like a college program. What would you say
Oh,
was the big
100%.
difference from high school to college?
You're on your own. Like you have a schedule, but you gotta follow the schedule. Like you gotta wake up on your own. You gotta wake up and eat. Eating was the toughest part for me because I'm just like, when am I gonna eat? Like, I was literally eating, I think, like, noodles and Free Pebbles the first, like, month at school because I just couldn't find the time to eat?
Yeah.
And then they start putting training table on my schedule, like, "This is your window to eat," you
This is
know?
when you need to eat. It's crazy.
Um,
Like
yeah.
we ain't even talking about on the court what was different. We talking about what was off.
Mm-mm.
Like you gotta eat. Like
Yeah.
you gonna forget to
Mhm.
eat.
You gotta feel your body, but on the court, I would definitely say physicality and, like, space of picking up things, like, coaches will put in 10 plays, and honestly, it's like throwing noodles at the wall, seeing which one sticks.
Hmm.
But I didn't know that as a player, so I'm trying to remember absolutely every single play. And then, trying to remember that you can shoot you're just a little tired. Your legs hurt a little bit. It's gonna be okay.
Hmm.
And then as long as the practices were as far as like conditioning, um, it wasn't like completely exhausting, but it was a new level of
Yeah.
what something that I thought, like, I was like, "Oh, got this down pat," and then you start all over?
Yep.
But I was thankful to have somewhat of a foundation. Some kids going to college have never lifted weights before. We lifted like it was just normal. Like you said, it was ran like a college. So for me, there were a lot of things that I like learned and I like knew about, but the volume of it per se was probably the hardest thing for me to get used to.
Yeah. Now, what would you say from college to playing in the league?
I would say the pace of the game, 100%. Like, watching it on TV is like, "Oh, wow," like, it's like, "Oh, I could be out there." And then you get on the court and the ball is whipping, like, joints just moving around, like, just so fast. I mean, I'm in my 6th year. I'm entering, like, my prime years of basketball, and it's finally, like, slowing down for me. But that's after hours of film, hours of on-court talk, hours of this, and that. So I would definitely say the pace of the game and the physicality. Like, we not just banging on the block, we banging on the wing and the top.
Hmm.
Like it's physical out here. And you got to give your body every opportunity you can to withstand it. So physicality and pace, 100%.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's like you just said, like every new level is a different level. Like I
Mhm.
just think about like for me,
Mhm.
like even when I go like high school and AAU is different. I went to South Plains first, and before I went to
Mhm.
South Plains, I'm just like, oh, like this gonna be easy. Like it's a JUCO.
Yeah.
This is when I didn't know nothing about JUCO. Coach Self honestly was like,
Right.
you should go here. And I love Cheryl Swoops. That was my favorite player. She went there. So I was just like, told
Mhm.
myself, I'm going to go to South Plains. But I thought like
Right.
it'd be easy. Like, no, that was not the
Nah.
case. And it was just like every level, like from there to Texas, like the pay,
Mhm.
everything is different. Like you can be doing the same drills, but it's different. It's
That's the
different.
crazy part. You be like, "I've been here before. Oh, why I look like this right now? Like,
I
why
done
I
done
can't do
this
this?"
20 times.
Yeah.
Like, why am I so tired? Why can't I catch the ball? Like, come on.
That's the one. Like, I know I can play. That was literally my freshman year. Dude, I swear, like, the first month, I was like, "Bro, I know I'm good at this. Like, I know I can play basketball." My first shot aimed it off the glass. I was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna cut me. They're gonna cut me."
Like, what is going
Oh my
on?
goodness.
Like, it's like you relearning how to play basketball.
Mhm. Is it is what it is.
That's crazy. Now, Olympian, what was that
Mhm.
like?
Man, that was a crazy experience. So it was right after COVID, which made it really hard. So we was pretty much in the hotel at the gym. They let us go outside from like time to time because like, you need fresh air. Um, but it was an amazing experience. I didn't play much. I barely touched the floor. And I hadn't done that in a while, so that was hard. But
Hmm.
it was definitely a learning experience because USA basketball is one of those things when you put that jersey on, you just know like this is a breed of excellence and there's nothing less than that accepted here type thing, right? So
Hmm.
I knew that no matter if I touched the court the entire game or didn't touch the court at all that game, it didn't matter. I was a part of something that was bigger than just me. And the women before me that put that jersey on has made this one of the things that I ultimately look forward to every single time. Anytime my number or my name is called, I'm ready to put it on because
Hmm.
it's an unmatched feeling, and to be able to not only like represent the people that look like you in this country, but the women before us, like the '96 Olympic team made this joint like fun. Like people was like, let's go.
Right.
So to be a part of that, it's just I honestly can't even put that into words.
Yeah. I'm sure it was like a big adjustment though, like going from like getting a lot of minutes, touching a ball to
Hmm.
barely playing. Like what kept you, like I know like you're saying just the experience and all of that, but as a
Hmm.
competitor, right? Like what
Right.
really
Hmm.
kept you like, dang, like I'm barely touching the floor. Like how
Man,
did you deal with that?
I mean, as a competitor, like you're not playing that much, so 10 times out of 10, you're on scout team.
Yeah.
Go time. Like I'm playing, like I'm having a good time. And the thing too is like it's such a learning experience because you're playing with so many vets that have done this time and time again, right? So I was able to be a sponge and just soak it all up. And I'm an observer. I love to
Mm,
like watch people. I love to read people's bios. Like I love to learn about people and how they go about their business and their processes. And just to be able to kind of be a fly on the wall for some of the vets, it was just really cool just to learn and to be embraced in such a way. Like that's one of the beauties of USA basketball. Like no matter if you're the first man or the 27th man, bringing the towel to clean, it doesn't matter. Like
mhm.
everybody's embraced, and it's one big crew literally reaching for the one thing, and that's complete excellence.
Yeah. Now do you think you could have done that same thing like in college or playing with an AAU team that you're barely playing and like do you think you could do that same thing?
I don't know. It would have been interesting. I feel like a lot of I'm a very spiritual person. So for me, like I know and understand that like everything is in God's timing, right? So the fact that the Olympics actually got pushed back because of COVID, that was a God thing for me because just now I have the ability to make the team. I have another year under my belt, things like that. In college, I'm pretty sure if it did happen, I have no idea. I probably wouldn't have left because I don't really do that. Like I just stuck things out. But if I mean, pro was my dream,
Yeah.
so I probably would have tried to go somewhere where I could play or maybe fight my way to the top. There are some situations where, like, all right, say if coach was like, "Yeah, you're never gonna play here." All right,
Time to
I gotta
bounce.
go. Like, yeah, like I gotta go. At least get somewhere where it's like, hey, these are the things that you can do to get more PT, right?
Yeah.
Like at least give me something to look forward to. But if they're just like, I can't stand the way you play, you do nothing for this program. I'm not being in a place where I'm literally not wanted, but I don't think I had made a decision. I think I was very thorough in my decision in choosing Texas and knowing that it was a place where I would be able to get playing time and eventually be a
Mhm.
starter there, just by how the coaching staff perceived me and the things that they talked about.
Mhm.
Talking to the coaches, it was never like, "Hey, you're gonna play." It was like, "Hey, these are the things that you got to earn. This is what you're good at. This is what you need to get better at." And that was the most exciting conversations for me because I'm like, "You're already helping me get better, and I'm not
Right.
even your player yet." You know. In AAU, I probably wouldn't have did that. No.
Yeah.
And I say that because there's it's too many teams out here. It's too many tournaments. It's too much basketball
Mhm.
for me to be sitting on the bench. Now, do I need to be playing the whole game? No, but if a kid is not like if I wasn't playing, there was what are we doing? This is literally my summer vacation. Like, yeah, no, nah.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that. And you just said something as far as college when you talked about Texas, which was, picking the right school, picking the right fit.
Mhm,
How would you
mhm,
say like parents and kids should go about picking the right fit?
mhm.
I think, right now we got the transfer portal. And so many kids are in the transfer portal for a
Yeah.
lot of different reasons, But one of
Mhm,
it is because they went to the wrong school in the first place.
mhm. It's tough now because money's involved.
Mhm.
To be honest, but I think a big thing of it is when you sit, and you ask your questions, like listen and not don't listen to be complimented, like listen to see if this person has ever seen me play before. Like if somebody's telling you like, "Oh yeah, like we'll put you at this position and you'll be great at this," and in your head, you know you're not even capable, like you're not good at that. And it's not to say like, "Oh, I can't be good at it." You can be, but if this person's telling you you're good at something and you're not, they haven't watched you play. Like they
Mhm.
just haven't, and it's okay. It's okay. We can be honest here, like it's fine. But I would just say listen and observe. How do other players that are on that team respond to their coach in the good moments and in the bad moments? Like one of the small telltales for me is like a coach compliments a player. Does a player smile? Does a player smirk? Does a player not even feel phased? Like you have to pay attention to those things when you go to these practices and you're observing. Like how does a coach pick a player up? How do the players pick the players up? Like you have to watch practice. Like you're not sitting at college 4 hour practice just to sit there and be the diamond that everybody's staring at wanting to come to the school. Like do
Right.
your job too. Figure out what's good for you. Figure out how everybody is working. Like how do the managers respond when somebody snaps? Like do they throw water bottles all over the gym? Are they throwing towels at people? Are they kind? Are they respectful? Are they pushing their players to get better? Are they letting their players be lazy? Like, and if you one of those players that don't really want to be in a strict environment, make sure you don't go play for a drill sergeant coach.
Yeah.
Like,
Fact.
and some kids, like I'm a kid who needs discipline. I'm a person who needs discipline. I knew I could play for somebody like KA. Like I appreciate discipline. And so it's like you have to be very cognizant of choosing your school in the sense of it is that for you. And it's okay to examine people. Like I think coaches appreciate today when the first question is probably not about money.
Mhm.
It's like, what can I do for this school? Or like how can you use me? Or like what would I be able to bring to this program? Like what do you see in me type thing? Like those are okay questions to ask. But you gotta do your job too and be observant. Like don't just let people read you. Make sure you read the room too.
No, I love that. I love that. And I think it will help like transfer
Hmm.
that portal going crazy, you know.
Listen, they and people you just get to hoop right away. Like you get to
You
pull
get
up,
the
put the
hoop
jersey
right
on, and
away.
hoop right away. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like
What
this
are
is
your
crazy.
thoughts like on the transfer portal? What's your thoughts?
I mean, obviously, I do believe that there are some reasons that people should transfer. No
Mhm.
question. One of the instances I said earlier, for coaches, just like if you know that somebody really just don't rock with you,
Yeah.
we did our best. We tried. But now that like money's involved, like it's almost like people just literally climbing the ladder for like work. I don't know how any other way to put it. And I don't understand NIL or the collective or none. I don't understand any of it. So for me,
Mhm.
it just looks like money, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm really interested to kind of see how it pans out in the next few years.
Yeah.
The transfer portal because I think that money changes things. When money gets involved, like things are different. So I'm really to see if that number goes up or if it goes down Because if schools are able to pay kids more, are kids more susceptible to stay in a situation that they don't like because they're getting paid? You know.
Mm,
I'm just curious. I have no like concrete idea of what I even think about it. It's mind blowing to me half
yeah.
the time because they're like, and people are like, oh, like you watch college basketball, and I'm like, oh yeah, I like so and so. It's like, oh, you like that school? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, she don't go there no more. Like what?
When did this
You know,
happen?
bro, it's crazy. Even going to the Final Four back home last year, like I was just like, oh, like I didn't even know like some of the players had actually played for that team, and it was just like I was really just like, wow. Like I mean, the amount of freedom. I mean, obviously there's still rules put in place, but I do like that there's more freedom for the players because
Yeah.
when you think about coaches when they leave and they're just able to move on, yeah, I get it. I get it. I just hope it's for like reasons for the kid and not
Mm-hmm.
because like, oh, well, they said they didn't like me. Okay, did they say that? Or like, do you just feel like they like them more? It's like, well, she got favorites. Everybody has favorites.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
That's
Like,
like that's really like low key a bar right there. Like so many coaches or so many parents, whatever, it's like, oh, you
hmm
shouldn't have favorites, or some coaches be like, I don't got no favorites. Yes, everybody has favorites. Like my favorites are the ones who are
hmm
gonna work hard, who
hmm
are gonna listen. Like everybody has favorites,
yeah.
and it's okay.
I mean, it's human nature. Like you're in, and too, like some personalities match better with others.
Yep.
Like it's not like I'm a coach them all the same. Like it's no different from that. But yeah, like if a kid is making your life easier, yeah, they're gonna be a favorite. Like what? Duh.
Yes, of course. Yes, that is my favorite. She
Right.
listens. She works
hmm
hard. She follows instructions. She plays hard.
Simple. It's simple.
She does the right things. And the
Yeah.
parents are cool. I don't have to deal with the
Right.
parents. Like,
That's
yes,
another thing. These
my
parents, they
favorite.
be don't take their kids out. Like let your kid rock. Like
Yeah, like you said
I.
earlier, like your parents were very supportive. Like they weren't the ones
Mhm.
like yelling at you at the games, and I think it plays a
No.
big part. Like so many times now, like the kid is having to listen to their coach. They're
Mhm.
having to listen to like one, be there for their teammates. They're also looking at the
Mhm.
sideline because they got to make sure they're doing what their mama want. They got to make sure they're doing what their daddy want.
Yeah.
They got to make
That's
sure they're
tough.
doing what their trainer that want. Like how can they perform? Literally, how can they perform? Like I
Yeah.
I would catch myself sometime in a game like I can't get mad at
Mm.
this kid because she's listening to 10 people.
To
Like
10 different people. That's like boxing though. Once you get in the ring, you in the ring.
you in the
Like
ring, you got to
you
go.
just yeah, go ahead, going after.
You got
Like
to go.
I've been trained by pretty much the same people my whole life, and I remember one time Coach Howard, somebody who I worked with to this day, she came to one of the games and she was just like, "You don't do anything that we worked on the game." She was like, "I specifically watch you play because these are the things that your coach is asking you to do. She wants you
Mhm.
to get better at these things. It's okay to do them in a game,
Mhm.
but not once was it ever on some like you need to go score 30. Like
Right.
if she ever said that, it was like your team needs you to score. You're
Right.
literally passing up shots. Don't pass
Right.
up open shots. Like it was all constructive criticism and
Yeah.
conducive to the team.
Yeah, and
Like
you
it
just
wasn't
said
just
though, I
about
didn't mean to
me.
cut you off, but you just
No,
said
no, it's
like
fine.
what you said with Howard, like she would actually come to the game and
Oh
see
yeah.
and see, okay, this is what we need to
Mm-hmm.
work on. Like we just not working on random stuff. Like to me, that's like that coach trainer relationship, whether they actually
Mm-hmm.
have a relationship or not. Like you're on the same page. I'm looking at
Right.
how you're using her in the game, what she needs
Mm-hmm.
to work on, and those are the things we're gonna work on. Like
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
how it
that
should
just
be.
makes sense. Like if you could like create foster a relationship between a coach and a trainer, like why
Mm-hmm.
not? Like it
Mm-hmm.
only benefits the kid.
Yes. To me, it's a part of that village that you're talking about, like that support system.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody have to be on the same page because at the end of the day, the kid is the kid, and the kid wants to do by everybody. They don't want to let
Yeah.
nobody down,
Yeah.
and that's where
That
they get
yeah.
confused. That's when they can't play the way they need to play because coach is telling them, drive and kick. Mama is
Mhm.
telling them drive and shoot.
Yeah,
Daddy is telling them
man.
drive, make another move, and get to the rim.
Right. All that. All
Like
of that.
everybody's saying something different. Help me out,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Like Come on. But no, I definitely think it's important, like, to be on the same page. And you kind of was talking to training, which is something I definitely wanted to lead into, is
Mm,
training. I love the fact that kids, like, for me, and I'm not like, we not just like super old, but for the most part, like, we
feel like it.
feel like it. Golly,
Yeah.
I'm like, back in our day,
Yeah.
back in the day.
Right.
But like, we would just go to the rec and just go hoop,
Mhm.
right? And like, we really did not, honestly, like, yeah, there were some people we work with, but we really did not just really work with trainers. And I actually like that
Mhm.
now. Like, so many kids are getting in the gym and they actually have trainers, so I think
Mhm.
it's a good thing. On the flip side of it, though, I think that there are a little bit, like, there's too many trainers. And at the end of the day, like, some of
Mhm.
these kids, in my opinion, are not really working on the right things. Like, so I would love to hear, like, what are some things that you worked on in high school and some things that you currently work on? Like, you always training. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. Fundamentals. I was actually talking to one of my coaches the other day. I feel like as I became a pro, there's so many things that you can work on because basketball is such a vast game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that is constant are the fundamentals. Can you
Mm-hmm.
dribble with your right hand? Can you dribble with your left hand? Do you know how to pass the ball? Don't nobody know how to pass the ball these days. You know how to
Mm-hmm.
pass the ball well. Can you pass it into the post?
Yeah. Post
Can you
entry pass, please.
post entry pass? So for me, it's really literally the fundamentals of the game,
Mm-hmm.
like basics. Like, and then once you get the basics, can you do those basics with speed? Like, can
Mm-hmm.
you do it at game speed, right? So honestly, those are the things that I'm literally working on. Like when I say the foundation of the game of basketball, I did have a trainer from like my ninth grade year to my 10th grade year, but I still played basketball. Like kids
Mm-hmm.
don't play enough. Like I
Pick
went
up.
home, I think it was before our season started, Duncanville. My parents still live there, and I went to the rec, and it was like 5, 5:36, like prime time. You come from high school, you grab a slushy at Sonic, and you pull up
At
to the gym,
Sonic.
right?
Oh
So I'm
my
like, yeah. So I'm
God.
like, all right. So I'm like, maybe it'll be some kids in here. I just wanted to play. Like I wasn't trying to be in there like cooking. Like I just want to
Yeah.
run. I want to get some runs in, and I didn't want to go to LA Fitness.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, let me go to the rec. It's so nice. They're sitting there training with his dad. Some other kids playing like dodgeball, but like no basketballs dribbling. Like I'm just like, so they're like organized pickups. Like what is it? Like why don't kids want to hoop anymore? And part of it to me is yes, I do love the training aspect of it. Don't get me wrong, because you need somebody to help you lock in your skill set, right? If I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have anybody focus with me on my skill set, would not be where I am today, right? But you still gotta play. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love the trainers that like at the end of it all, people play. Like they'll play ones, they'll play 2-on-2. Like you gotta play because basketball still is a 5-on-5 game. No matter how skilled you are, if you can't go from north to south and actually get past John or Jade, you're not going anywhere. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
not doing anything. So obviously I think training is super important, but I think with anything in life there has to be balance. Like you
Yeah.
gotta play, you gotta understand the game of basketball. Like, but you have to play. You
Yeah.
cannot train for the rest of your life.
And that's
Like
the
it
thing.
it
Like,
it does nothing for you.
no, and that's why, I like to call them drill warriors. Like, they can do all the
Mhm.
drills. They can skill and drill. They look so good in training. They
Tough
look,
in a camp.
yeah, they
Tough
in
in
the
a camp.
camp. They look
Ooh.
so good, but when you get on that court, you don't understand spacing. You don't understand where to cut, how to cut, because you're not
Mhm.
playing enough. And a lot of parents and kids like really think like, "Oh, you're going to get that in the game." Like, the game is
Mm-mm.
like the performance. The game is not the time
Right.
to gets allows people to just work, like, randomly work on things. Like, you build that.
Mhm.
You build that from
Mhm.
playing pickup, from doing different things, from training, from whatever,
Mhm.
so that you can show that you can do it. But I think that that's like the biggest thing.
Right.
Like, you are right. Like, it's like, oh, I'm a train. Like, I've even had some people tell me like, oh, I'm gonna just train or something. I'm not gonna play with an AAU team. How you gonna get any reps in?
No.
Like, it just doesn't work that
No.
way. Like, balance is definitely like the biggest thing. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's an investment. I think that that's
Mhm.
what's hard sometimes. Like this stuff, it's an investment, time, money, sacrifice, everything.
Mhm. I agree with that 100%. Investment is the only word, like, because it is on everybody's part.
Mhm. 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 Yeah, but we can literally like talk basketball, do this all day long, all day long. I think
Yeah.
we already been on for like an hour. Like we can keep talking, but
Yeah,
I
probably.
do I do kind of want to
It's
circle back around. Like I said, the point of this, like really, is not to talk down on
mhm.
any parents, talk down on any kids, or anything like that. It's simply to educate and try to provide valuable information to help these parents, to help the kids navigate through the AAU industry.
Mhm.
But and it's to bring a lot of the things to the forefront, because I think if it's not talked about, you don't know. Like I said earlier, if you know,
Right.
you know. If you don't know, you don't know. You have not been around obviously the youth industry, the AAU industry, but you've been around basketball and you see social media, you see different things. What would you
Mhm.
say is the biggest issue in girls youth basketball?
Ooh. Um, the biggest issue.
Mhm.
People are probably gonna hate me for this. I think kids overtrain.
Mhm.
Uh, it's the injuries, the ice pack on all the knees.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they just need to go like hop a fence. Like
Yeah.
it's okay. Like for a tournament, like if they only play 2 games on a Saturday, and at the end have a pizza pool party. Like
Yeah.
let the kids be kids. Like
Mhm.
I just think that's in sports period. Like it's getting so serious so soon, and I just hope that kids are still having fun. Like
Yeah.
that is, I don't know if that's an issue or that's just my cry for fun.
No, I
Like
agree. You
I
got you
want
got
kids to
third
have
graders
fun.
being ranked right now. Like they the best third grader in
Sucks.
the country. What?
What? If you saw me in the 3rd grade, you would not look my way. I was the smallest player on my team.
Mhm.
I had these 2 super curly ponytails, and I only knew how to run fast and dribble with my left hand. Legitimately, like dribble with my left hand and run fast were my basketball skills. And I could defend my butt off, because I was just a terror on the other end.
Mhm.
Kids just they do need to enjoy it, and I think overall, like if your kid is enjoying playing basketball and they actually ask to go to trainings and they love it, like that's different. But there needs to be some type of balance, and like for the kids too, like it's okay to like have kid fun.
Yeah.
Like, do kids even go outside and like play outside? I mean, outside's a little crazy. Like the park, is that a thing? Like I
Mhm.
still want kids to like have fun, and I don't want kids to be so like, "Oh, only play basketball, only play basketball." Like if you can play 2 sports, 3 sports, and just basketball can be your serious sport, but like you need to cross train. Like
Mhm.
it's too dangerous to focus on one thing from 0 to 100 for the rest
Mhm.
of your life. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's dangerous. So I
Yeah.
guess injuries.
No, and this is like you just said something about cross training. It really made me smile because like I love, like you talked about that. I think a guest before you, or I don't know, I
Mhm.
don't even remember how I'm releasing these episodes, but one of the guests like talked
Mhm.
about not doing that, like how she thinks that you should only focus on one sport. And it makes me
Mhm.
smile because like I really think there's no one way,
No.
right? There's
Yeah.
no
No.
one way. What somebody's gonna tell you, somebody's gonna tell you differently. Like you're talking about cross training, like that could be, eighth grade and below or whatever.
Mhm.
But the
Yeah.
fact that like you say that and somebody else say, I don't think, and it goes to say like it depends on the person.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
Nadia Taylor played
Mhm.
basketball for Texas and she
Mhm.
played softball for Texas. Sarah
Professional
Hattis,
softball player.
and she's a professional softball player. Sarah Hattis
Mhm.
played volleyball and basketball. So
Mhm.
it can be done. You can do multiple sports. Ashley Roberts ain't gonna be able to do all these
Right.
different like I need to just focus on basketball.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like
Like,
my uncle literally forced me to do other sports in
yeah,
middle school. And I ran track because I was slow as I'll get out. He was like,
yeah.
"You just need to be fast. You need to learn how to chase something." I don't know if that even made sense, but I ran track. I played volleyball because, like, why not?
Yeah.
You
See,
know?
I wish Daryl Roberts, like if you watching this, like my daddy was not letting me, Ariel. Like I
uh,
was crying. Like I want to play
yeah.
volleyball. My mama played volleyball. So I wanted to
Okay.
play volleyball in middle school. I wasn't doing no track. Forget the running.
Mhm.
But volleyball, I wanted to, and I tried to
Yeah.
convince him like it's gonna help me be more athletic.
Right.
Like
Mhm.
he wasn't having it. And then
Yeah.
when I got to Duncanville, he like, you need to run track. Nope.
Nah, remember that? You said nah.
Not doing it. But no, I agree too. I think at a certain level, you
Mhm.
should do multiple sports. In my opinion, I think like eighth grade and below. I think once you get to high school, depending on the type of player you are, depending on what you're doing, like you gotta start
Mhm.
narrowing it down because at the end of the day, you gotta specialize in something, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
be able to hone in your skill on something. And again, that's
Yeah.
very dependent on the type of player, the type of person, all of that.
Mhm.
All of that is
What it is
very
that you
dependent.
wanna do in your future. Do you wanna only play basketball in college? Like,
Hmm.
do you wanna be a dual sport athlete in college? Do you
Hmm.
wanna do? Because you can't do conflicting sports, right? Because
Right.
practice, right? But do you wanna do track season for fun? Like,
Yeah.
there's like you said, there's no one right way to do it.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
then being
not.
realistic with yourself. Like, if you're doing volleyball and basketball all the way through high school, and at the end of the day, you're not that good in one of them, like, you can't be saying that you want to play college for both. Like, be
Right.
realistic with yourself so that you can be really good in one of them.
Mhm.
I think that is, you just got to be realistic.
Yeah. No, I know. I went to my freshman year of high school. I thought I was gonna run track in high school. I don't know why. Please, I do not know why. I get to like the tryout. I don't even know if anybody ever saw me. I get to the tryout. I'm like, oh, I'm trying out for the 400, right? When I tell you they was warming up, and I was like, oh, they already started. She's like, nah, everybody just warming up. I was like, yeah, nah,
Yeah, this ain't for
I'ma
me.
go. I'ma go.
I'm
I'ma
going
get
back
out of here.
inside.
What? Went straight, literally went to the gym and started shooting. I was like, oh, I don't need these. I said, anybody need a pair of spikes? I don't need them.
Mm-mm. I
Mom, we
was
gotta take them back to the
listen.
store.
Mm-mm. I was good with the miles that we had to do. Like I dreaded. Coach Self
Yeah.
used to make us do the miles. I dreaded
Mhm.
those. Like
Yeah.
no, don't try to get me. Then we had to do the like little summer conditioning with the football team. Like
Uh,
oh,
I'm not gonna lie to you. My last year, I really enjoyed it though, cause I
it
knew it
was
was gonna be
like
my
I ain't gonna
last
lie. Like
one.
I used to kind of have fun.
Yeah,
Like Coach Dykes
it
used to make
was
it fun.
fun.
Coach Dykes
It
used to
was
make it fun.
fun.
Like
It created like a little like athletic family. It was fun.
yeah,
I enjoyed it a lot.
yeah. Just don't get me doing too much running. Like we can do like the little competitions. Like Dykes was
Yeah.
really good of like you doing a lot of running, but it's like competitive and like you
Right. So it
gotta
made it fun.
jump over some stuff and you got
Right.
you gotta do all these different things. Like we're just not running straight or like
Right.
running around the track. I don't want
Yeah.
to do that, but let's be competitive. You got me. I can do
Yeah.
it.
Nah,
So
I
no,
feel
I
you.
agree with that. But if you had a daughter playing AAU, how
Mhm.
would you go about choosing the right team for them? And let me be specific. She is a freshman,
Mhm.
got some skill to her, looking to get recruited.
You want me to answer from somebody else or from my perspective?
Let's do both because I don't know. Let's
Okay,
see.
okay. My perspective, I would have if I have a daughter, I am going to make my own team,
Okay.
100%.
Why would
Just
you make your own
because
team?
I have the expertise too. I
Mm-hmm.
have the people in my circle that could help me manage a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I would want her basketball experience to be foundational.
Mm-hmm.
I would pass her off as she got older. But I know how important the foundation of the game is,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that I would not let anybody else do, just because I can. I
Yeah.
know it. I understand it. If I was somebody else and I knew nothing about basketball, I would start by asking the high school coach, if you have a good relationship with them, and kind of go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, because I would have no other way of knowing what to do. I mean, I found my first AU team through my school.
Yeah.
So, and I was 5, you know. So I would definitely start with the high school coach, especially if you trust them. And then if you don't, um, you would have to kind of like ask around. I mean,
Yeah.
there's flyers everywhere, but I think word of mouth is so much more important than you got to ask around and
Yeah.
not get just one person's opinion. But
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely start by asking a high school coach and then kind of go from there. And then you kind of build those connections and you kind of see where something goes. Don't be afraid to make a mistake, because you live and you learn. You know,
Yeah.
like if that didn't work out for your kid, and when I say didn't work out for your kid, I mean like the kid never got to play or the kid didn't get better or like nothing good happened for the kid. You lived and you learned.
Yeah.
Let's figure
On
out what
to
we
the
can do
next.
better next. Yeah, let's figure out what we
Mm-hmm.
can do better. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, when you start from ground zero, you just gotta fight your way and figure it out and ask around.
Yep. And I think you even said it earlier. Like you said, if it was you, you would start your own team because you got the expertise, you got the
Hmm.
experience, you got the knowledge, like And I think that that's the biggest thing. I'm not saying that just because you play, you know how to coach or whatever the case may be, but
Hmm.
it kills me like seeing so many parents like trusting their kids with people who never played the sport, and or like don't really have the knowledge of like what it takes, because again, just because you played, that don't mean you know how to coach, and just because you didn't
Right.
play, that don't mean you don't know how to coach.
Hmm.
So like I'm not saying that at all, but like so many times like I see parents like putting their kid with teams that like don't really have the experience or don't even know like what a practice really look like,
Yeah.
what you should be putting your kid through, all these different things. They're just like, oh, they're gonna play with so and so because they said this a good team. So
Right.
I definitely do think like experience, expertise,
Hmm.
like understanding
It
situation,
matters
it matters.
if that's what you want. Now, if your kid just want to go hoop and have fun, that's different.
Yeah, because
Like
you some of these teams you can't go play with because it's different level.
that's what I'm saying. And then like I mean, it depends on what you want. I mean, you can go to a practice and see chaos versus structure. Like
Yeah.
that's something as simple as it can get.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Man, this was good. We kind of wrapping up. I like to end with rapid fire.
Let's get it.
Rapid fire is what I like to end with. We're going to jump straight into it. You ready?
Yep.
Favorite current college player?
That's funny. I really don't know. I really don't know.
And listen, it's so funny because we were talking about it earlier, and I was
Hmm.
like, at first I was going to take the question out, but I was like, I'm still going to ask her and see what she say.
And the answer is the same. I have no idea.
Okay, so I'm going to still go with the same one. Favorite college player? Any college player besides you.
Any college player besides me of let's go one of my favorite kids, Deja Kelly. I love
Okay.
Deja.
Shout out
Yes.
to Deja doing it
Yes.
big, NIL,
Hmm.
hooping, everything. Shout out to you,
It
Deja.
all.
Biggest ick as a player.
When people touch their face in the game, it grosses me out. You did not wash your hands. I know you did because we all just been out here for 2 hours running around.
Best dressed in the W.
Best dressed in the W. I'm gonna go with one of my teammates, Shatori Walker Kimbrough.
Okay. What is Ariel's pregame playlist? Who you listening to?
Pre-game playlist. It's honestly all over the place. It can go from Whitney to J. Cole to Meek to Maverick City. It kind of depends on the day.
Bro, you know what's so crazy? Like,
Yeah.
that's me. Like, I'm gonna listen to some
Hmm.
hype music. I'm gonna listen to some slow music. I'm gonna like, it just kind of depends. I might do a little bit of both. Like,
Yeah, it might be on the same playlist. That's what I was about to say. It might go from
it's gonna
male.
be on the same. And then y'all know, if y'all know me, Ride Wave is gonna be on there. Ride Wave
Oh
is there.
my
Don't
goodness.
don't do Ride Wave.
I'm not.
Don't
I'm
don't.
not.
Thank
I'm not.
you. Thank you. Don't even do Ride Wave.
Oh my goodness.
Last one. Your favorite coach self memory.
My favorite coach self memory. Um. All right, so we were down. It was one of the, I think it was a Pasadena tournament, and we don't. She doesn't get mad, right? She doesn't really get angry. She doesn't throw stuff. That's it's just not her style, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she comes in the locker room, and we're all just like, man, what's she about to say? She throws a water bottle, and we're all like, and we just knew we were in trouble. Like it wasn't. She didn't cuss. She threw a water bottle. I was just like, I'm so frustrated. And I was like, we done frustrated her. Oh
It's
my
over.
God. So she literally just said she's frustrated, and it wasn't on some like, y'all are doing this, y'all are that. She was like, y'all are not playing confident. You out there, you playing scared, and that's just not how we play. There's nothing I want to draw up. We are acting scared, and we are not scared. We are Pantherettes. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh yeah. Oh no, we ain't playing scared. She done threw the water bottle. They done got our coach mad. Now she's saying we scared. I ain't scared. You scared? That was one of my like most favorite moments because it was a big moment for me, like as a leader, like growing up and stepping into that space and being like, all right, how can I give my teammates the confidence that we need to pull this game off, one. And two, like she knew when to say things and what to say. And
Mhm.
that coaching staff, my I had the same coaching staff my entire 4 years. They all were just like they were just it felt like they were always on the same page. And that
Mhm.
was a moment where I was just like, dang, like that lady really know how to coach. Like for real.
Yeah. I love it. Shout out to Coach Self. I absolutely love Coach Self. If you
For
don't know,
sure.
Coach Self is one of the greats in Dallas, Texas. Was the coach at
Mhm.
Duncanville. And I have to say, when we were playing, nothing wrong with it now. Don't come
Mhm.
for me. Please don't come for me. But when we were playing, it wasn't no recruiting. Like these were all kids
Yeah.
that lived in Duncanville. We lived in
I
Duncanville.
mean, high school, the landscape of high school is just so different now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think you can call it like it's kids from everywhere are going
Yeah,
everywhere.
they going everywhere. And listen,
Like it
again,
has
y'all
nothing
do
to
what
do.
y'all do, but people love to say like, "Oh, Duncanville been recruiting, Duncanville been doing this." Like now, granted, I didn't win state, so I did
Mhm.
not. They won after me, but it was all Duncanville kids, all kids that
Yeah, I
lived
mean,
in
we all grew up
Duncanville.
together. Our parents
Yes,
literally live what 5, 10 minutes from
right
each
around the
other.
corner.
Yeah, like we definitely did. I just think nobody likes when people are winning,
No,
and that's fine.
no. So,
You got to be
city of
like,
champs, city of champions, and
say it
it
again.
came from Duncanville kids. But
Duncanville, Texas,
Ariel,
baby.
yes, yes. But I we started with like what's different. What would you do different,
Mhm.
in college? I want to end like personally with you. What would be different with Ariel, in Ariel, whatever, in the next 3 to 5 years?
Oh, next 3 to 5 years. Hopefully I have a more solid foundation when it comes to like business and managing my business and my foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in love with the process of building a nonprofit. It is so hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm enjoying it. I'm loving every second of it. So I want to make sure that has really good footing and that people know about it and that it's something that people actually look forward to. The events that we put on.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball wise, it's prime time, baby. I'm hoping to have another ring under my belt.
Yeah,
And
let's
I'm
do
hoping to
it.
be literally when the conversation of like two-way players come to mind, like I will be one of the best two-way players, if not the best two-way player in this league in 3 to 5 years. No question.
Ooh, I love to hear. We're gonna come back to this episode in 3 years, and we're gonna this is what Ariel said, y'all. She's gonna have that ring. She's definitely
Hold
gonna
me
be
to
one of
it.
the best two-way players. But you said something about your business. I don't want to end the episode without you talking about it. Like talk about the
Hmm.
nonprofit. What is it? I know you got some merch too. So talk about what all you got
Yeah,
going on.
man, the merch business is tough.
Mm-hmm.
It obviously it's easy to put out any type of products. But I'm really aware and cognizant of the type of gear and merch I want to put out. Right now I'm deciding if I want to put out only sports merch, if I want to only put it out during the season, if I want to do it year round. Just kind of depends on my schedule and what I'm doing and
Mm-hmm.
who I want to pay and who I don't want to pay. So all of that, but my main focus right now is my foundation. So basically what we do is we allocate resources to youth in DC and in Dallas. More so based in DC right now because my feet are actually on the ground here. And that's the most important thing to me, is being hands-on, being in these kids' faces, being able to talk to them and see what they really need and what they really want. And we also create entrepreneurship curriculum, which I don't know. We basically teach kids how to make money by building
Mm-hmm.
their own businesses and making sure that they're legal,
Yeah.
so to say. But yeah, that's pretty much what we do, and I can't wait to expand into Dallas in the next hopefully a year or so.
Okay.
Definitely gonna have a few camps and events in Dallas, but our biggest event that we have is our teacher appreciation event. And there'll be more to come on that, hopefully, really soon.
I love it. I love to hear. Well, there you go, Ariel. This has been a dope episode. I really, really appreciate you hopping on. Want you to tell the people where they can find you, and if you could end with a message for the parents, for the players, anything that's on your heart that you feel you need to say.
Yeah, you can find me at I am Ariel Atkins only on IG. My Twitter was hacked 3 years ago. Haven't got it back. Um, don't plan on getting it back. So yeah, there's that at I am Ariel Atkins on IG. Message. I would say to the players, be yourself, and don't be easily influenced by the people around you. But more importantly, don't be easily influenced by what people say about you. You have every right to be exactly whoever you want to be. It's just gonna take a little work, a little prayer, and a little luck and love.
I love it. That's it. Thank y'all for tuning in again for another episode. Thank you, Ariel, for hopping on. We will be back next week.